A census taker once tried to test me. I ate his fava beans. No, not quite. I ate his liver with some fava beans, and then we finished off the ice cream in the back of his freezer. Hi there. Welcome once again, everybody, to a tradition they call Cast Iron Wednesday here on YouTube. A bunch of cooking channels on YouTube have really started something of a tradition of doing cast iron on Wednesdays, hence Cast Iron Wednesday. You know, whether it has to do with cooking in cast iron or seasoning cast iron or cleaning cast iron or collecting cast iron. Gee, it's almost as if there's a community or a cult going around, or more like a disease, which we call cast ironitis. If you are new to this channel, well, welcome and thank you very much for showing up. That's something I say every Wednesday, just a basic explanation of what's going on here. We are going to be playing with some cast iron tonight. So if that's your interest, well, I hope you've come to the right place. And if not, well, I hope you stick around and I hope it's interesting. And hello as to the folks who have been kind enough to show up tonight. A lot of regulars. I like the regulars or irregulars who show up here. Thank you very much. I see. Hello, Granny Graham and William Hurd and Clico. I still not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. And Roadside Assistance Guy. Welcome back, everybody. And hello, Pat Z and Dr. M. How's Clico's Club? Yes, indeed. Clicquot. So, wasn't there a ginger ale spelled like that, like Clico Club or something like that? Yeah. Yeah. And shit. And hello as well to Janet Bautista and Kimberly Miller and everyone. Welcome once again back to my kitchen, where we're going to be doing something that everybody does when they run a YouTube channel or a TikTok channel or a web page having to do with cast iron. And that, of course, is we're going to be cleaning some cast iron tonight. This is one of those subjects that will never die, and everybody all have their own things and opinions to say about it. I've been going on to TikTok recently and making videos for TikTok as well. And yes, there is a growing cast iron community on there too. So if you go to TikTok and get past all the live stuff, those girls on TikTok live all promoting their OnlyFans, there are in fact quite a few cooking videos there on TikTok, as I mentioned, including some cast iron folks. And yeah, the subjects they do in their 1 to 3 minute videos, including mine, are the same as we see here. Seasoning cast iron, cleaning cast iron, seasoning cast iron, cooking steak with cast iron, cooking cornbread with cast iron, all the usual stuff. And the reason why, of course, is, well, one, it's fun, and two, it will never die, because, cleaning and seasoning cast iron is quite simply something that everybody does, and everybody who uses cast iron will always do. Whether if you have a collection of like 100 or 200 pieces of vintage cast iron, you know all too well how often it needs to be seasoned. If you have even one cast iron pan, on the other hand, you know that every so often you do have to season it, because eventually the seasoning wears down and it develops rust, and then comes the really fun part of cleaning it up. And well, that's one reason why it's a subject we're all familiar with here. So and Clico says you pronounced it perfectly, so that's a good sign. So yeah, cast iron is not a disease. It does not diss my ease at all. Point for you for that one. I like that one, William Hertz. So yes. And Papa Dan, hello. I'm back. Wife is over the virus. Watched Friday's replay and enjoyed it. Well, glad to hear you're doing better, and especially hope your vision is doing better too, as well, Papa Dan. But and likewise for Jim 44 checking in. But yeah, as the title and the thumbnail picture of my video shows, of this week's video show up, yeah, we're here to take a look at a certain piece of cast iron. This one is not quite as rare as, say, a cast iron bundt pan, although they can be hard to find. typically, it seems like you could see prices on these on eBay ranging anywhere from 50, 75, 100, and then we get into really overpriced, you know, pieces as well, especially the ones that made with the Griswold logo. And that, of course, would be things like the cast iron lamb mold, which seems to be almost something that Alton Brown would not want because, in theory, it's a unitasker. I mean, it's a wonderful looking piece of cast iron and it has one purpose. You make a lamb cake with it, right? Well, there are ways around that. But nonetheless, how about we take a look and see one in person, shall we? That means it's time to get out my lye buckets here. I still have not built a full-scale lye tank yet. That is going to come when we move into our new place. No, we're still waiting on it. I mean, all I can say, yeah, then, yeah, then. Okay. Oh, they were installed. There was a delay because apparently the countertops were the wrong dimensions or something. But nonetheless, because of that, as I mentioned, I've got a couple of buckets of lye here using good old Home Depot buckets. And oh, okay, good. Glad to hear that. And yeah, at least one piece has been sitting in these things since last fall. I literally dropped it in last fall to soak, and it's been in there all winter. So now it's definitely time to clean it up or unveil it, shall we? Oh, great. Now I think I just got some lye on me. Well, it's mostly water at this point. Funny, I thought this was the one where let me see if I can do this right. Okay. Could have sworn this was the one with the piece. Or maybe maybe I've not done it right. Let me see here. How I could have sworn I know what to do. Sorry about that. There's always a delay of some kind. Instead of those gloves, let's get out these gloves, shall we? Yeah, I got these at a restaurant store, especially so that I can reach into things like this, like this bucket of lye here, for instance. And moving down, okay, this is not the one. I knew that these two were empty, and I could have sworn this was the one that had the piece. So, my bad. Let's get on here. Actually, let me show you something as well. Yeah, funny thing about this particular one, let me see if I can get a close-up of this in some way or another. Take a look how the front of this is indented. Come on, let's get a good view here, shall we? There we are. Funny thing is, this thing here is not straight. I mean, it's not rounded. It seems to be kind of like pushed inward. So, I can only hope, unless someone during the course of the winter actually got in here and took something out of it, which I seriously doubt. Okay. Not to worry. On the other hand, I think this is one with a really fun cover. So it's going to be an adventure just getting the cover off of this thing. And a little bit at a time. Ugh. Come on. Maybe that's why this thing was indented. It might be airtight. Which would be... There we go. I think I heard something coming out. Damn it. A little bit more. Come on. I did not plan this thing in this manner, just for the suspense. Let me bring this microphone down a little bit, and we'll keep on going until I actually get the cover off of this thing. Oh man, almost there. Boy, this thing is stubborn. Oh boy. Aha, got it. Haha. And now here's hoping. Aha, success. And here's one part. This is the back part. the back of the head. It includes one little place for it to rest. There we go, because it's supposed to set with face up. Here, let's get a close-up of this, shall we? Okay, so far so good. And furthermore, I still don't see any sign of any cracks or anything in this, so we're good. Let me put this in the sink. And now for the other one. I honestly thought the other bucket was the one with this, but that's okay. Oh, feels like there's something else in there too. Cool. Okay, in that case, nonetheless, still looks like no cracks. And here it is. Oh yeah. Our cast iron lamb mold. Portals to the shadow realm, just about, yeah. Dark pools are full of suspense. Yeah, you could definitely say that. Still, this thing actually has a nice design. I mean, there's actually a fair amount of detail in the face on this. However, I looked up and down and top and bottom of this. I cannot find any markings at all on it. No indication of a manufacturer at all. No numbers, not on the bottom, not on the inside. So this is effectively an unmarked lamb mold. I can only wonder, and maybe there are experts out there who can actually let us know. Did Lodge make cast iron lamb molds? All I know is that it's nice and smooth. And again, there doesn't seem to be any sign of any cracks or anything at all, any kind of damage at all on it. So so we're doing pretty good here. Let me put this in because, oh, careful. Shit, I felt something else in here. I forgot about that. And what is this? Oh yeah, that's right. One of my Trivets. I forgot. I think I've shown off this Trivet before too. I've had this thing sitting, soaking in the Lye Tank since last fall as well. So that's good. We're going to give this a nice seasoning here. And finally, is there anything else? As a matter of fact, I feel something else. We're off to a roll here. Oh yeah, I must have dropped this. I think this one needed to be cleaned anyway, so I dropped this one off. This is the one that is, no, it is not a swastika, but I know it's been called that. I believe, I forget the design. There are trivet experts who have a little more knowledge of the design of this thing, and even though it looks similar to, well, let's just say again, looks similar to a swastika. No, it is definitely not. Not with the heart-shaped design and everything on it. But it is one of those designs that's actually fairly common on vintage trivets. So I've got a couple of trivets and a couple of pieces of the lamb mold, and that seems to be everything. Yeah. No, I'm afraid I did not put a whole bunch of pieces in there. On the other hand, now that we've done that, I think I'll drop something in there, and we're going to clean this one back up again. Here's another piece I've shown off before. The cast iron pig head mold. The back of this, unfortunately, it seems to have developed some corrosion on the seasoning anyway. So I'm thinking, especially now that this is free, I'm just going to drop this in and soak this for a week or two. Then I'll take that one out and season it again. So that'll be something to look forward to. But now that we've done that, let me do this so that the lye stops spilling all over the place. There. Now, I'll move this other one away from the sink, and we can get down to business here. Phew. Okay. Get these things out of the way. First, rinse off my gloves a little bit. Let me change the view to what's in the sink. I'll answer a couple of comments, and then we will get on to cleaning these things up. As you can see, they're pretty clean, actually. That's one of the really nice things about owning a Lye tank, as anybody who has one knows. You can pretty much dump your cast iron into the Lye tank. Come on. There we go. All right. Let me move this up here. you can dump your cast iron into the lye tank and then just forget about it. Set it and forget it. And it can stay there for weeks, or in this case, months. And meanwhile, it looks like the lye has done a pretty good job in stripping it too. So, okay. Pawpaw Dam, thanks to everyone for their good wishes and prayers concerning my eyes. Swelling is going down per eye surgeon. Go back at end of April to see if injections are still working and what my vision is. Glad to hear that. Is the lamb mold a doorstop? Says Turner Fowler. No, as a matter of fact, it's a cake pan. If you've ever seen those lamb cakes that they produce at Easter, boy, what a coincidence. We're unveiling this at Easter time. Then yes, that is exactly what they're used for. Or as somebody says, as Val's Black Cat's rule says, I'd do cornbread in it. You would do cornbread in this. Yes, indeed. I plan on on getting as much use out of this as possible, of course. I mean, yes, it's Easter, and that means it's going to be time to clean this up and make a lamb cake, but not just a lamb cake. I like your cornbread idea. I have a couple of other ideas to go with it as well. So that's what an axe is for. Dr. M. I use a storage tote for lye. Cheap, available. You can move and cover it, and it fits big things like a 14 skillet or a Dutch oven. Nice. Okay. Oh, and by the way, my hand is fine too from the after I accidentally dunked it in the lye for a second. And no, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm saying it is fine. So that's good. Oh yeah, your head cheese YouTube. Oh yeah, that's right. The I made a couple of videos of making hog head cheese. How often does lye get dumped? Lye will last a long time. I see some people on Facebook saying how they have actually kept trouble. Excuse me one second. Trouble, leave those cords alone. Sorry. Sorry, folks. That's old Trouble again. He's decided to try playing with a couple of the chords here. But there are some folks on Facebook who have had their lye tanks going for at least 2 or 3 years or more. They say all they do is dump maybe another pound or so of lye in it, maybe once or twice a year, and for them it seems to work just fine. Can you make a lye tank out of an old ice chest, or will it eat the inside? Well, that's the thing. What you have to do is do a little research, and I really should have put this down on a web page of my own or something. Is that there are some kinds of plastic that are lye resistant, some kinds of plastic that will actually be damaged by the lye. And I do have to say, at least one of those storage tubs from Walmart, I found that after a year or so, it did in fact start leaking from the lye. So I think it was the Sterilite brand, the Walmart brand. On the other hand, these Home Depot buckets seem to work pretty good. Okay, stay away from the buckets, Trouble. Yes, exactly. That's one reason why I covered them again. However, now that we've done this, instead of having these things sit here and develop flash rust, let's let's have a little bit of fun. Move these cords around some more. There we go. Let's have some fun and start cleaning these off, shall we? There we go. I got some nice warmed hot water here. Not enough to burn my hands, but this is definitely good and hot, or at least almost hot. Ooh, too hot, in fact. Yeah, I gotta watch myself here. There we go. And all we gotta do is get our scrubby, carefully. Just start scrubbing off any residue from the lye. Like I said, the lye, I mean, it took a few months, but the lye did a great job of really stripping every bit of seasoning from this thing. This thing is really bare. So that's pretty good. That means we'll be able to give it a good coating of seasoning. This particular unmarked lamb cake mold, in fact, I scored on eBay. I know I've said bad things about eBay, getting cast iron on eBay, and I mean every word of it. And yet, every once in a while on eBay, if you're patient, and usually unexpectedly, you come across what you may consider to be a bargain or at least a decent deal. And that's what I felt about this lamb mold. Probably because it was unmarked and it did not have the Griswold name. I actually managed to score this one on eBay for $35. With shipping, it came to just under $50. So, which is kind of extravagant, I admit. However, nonetheless, that's still not a bad price for a pan like this. There's one, and then here comes the other. Oh, yeah. The eBay listing, which has since been removed, since I bought it, if I remember right, what it said was it was actually came from a bakery that had been using it since the 1960s. Although unfortunately, that bakery went out of business. I'm guessing this must have been like from a holding company or someone who actually acquired the equipment from that bakery. So I fully intend to continue the tradition in that case, and I definitely want to get some use out of this lamb mold. But boy, this did not take long at all, did it? There's really no residue on this at all. So in order to prevent flash rust building up, I'd better dry it off and get this thing in the oven right away. Which means we get to move our view around just a little bit. Here comes the roller coaster again. Let's move over here. Got a couple of other pieces as well, as you can see here, that I intend. Oh boy, this thing is heavy. That I also intend to put a little bit more seasoning on, as the seasoning has gotten a little thin, I'm afraid. Nonetheless, let's quickly get ourselves start drying this thing off quickly. Before, as I said, before the flash rust sets in. It doesn't have to be completely bone dry, because what I'm going to do is coat this thing completely in Crisco. That will form a layer so that it to block any oxidation, which means I better work quickly. Crisco, damn it! 1 second, be right back. Forgot. No, wait a second. I didn't forget the Crisco. It's right here. Okay. Wake up. All right. That means now we simply start smearing it on. Now, this first layer here is not really seasoning the pan. I'm doing it mostly to give it a coating to prevent oxidation. And that means, I know with seasoning cast iron, you're supposed to put only a thin layer of grease or whatever on the pan, so that it doesn't get blotchy or otherwise not to give a nice sheen to it. But as I said, this is only a first layer here, and again, it's really meant to stop rust from forming, so we can get this thing on nice and thick. And we have to do this quickly, because I think flash rust is already starting to set in. So I've got to move fast. Oh, yeah, that's why they call it flash rust. Only a few minutes, you start getting a very thin coating of rust on the surface. Fortunately, it actually rubs off with this by doing this. Yes. So the fun part with pieces like this, of course, is you've got to get in every nook and cranny, and boy, there are a lot of nooks and crannies in this thing. Still, yes, you gotta be careful with this thing, darn it. All right, and on the bottom, there we go. Off to a decent start now. There we go. So far, so good. A little bit here, a little bit there. Got to wash behind the ears, or grease behind the ears. Like any kid. Bah. Yeah, now the lamb jokes can start coming in nice and thick here. So even the pun that I used in the title of this particular video here. But as you can see, I felt it to be appropriate, because what are we doing? We are applying science. Or as Twilight Sparkle says in My Little Pony, I will do science to it. We must science this at once. There we go. Because, yeah, I'll talk a little bit about that as well. Why I like the seasoning method and why I like using a lye tank and why I do not like the old methods of cleaning cast iron. You know, burn it in the fire. No, I'm not going to burn this. I'm not going to throw this piece in a fire. There's too much risk involved for that. So here's one part at least. Now let me stick this in the oven at about 225 degrees to get this thing nice and hot, and then we'll start applying the first layer of seasoning, which means I got to move this back a little bit. All right, that's one part. And now we repeat the process with the other half of this. I'm afraid since I'm concentrating on this, I'm not able to see the comments, but I will get to your comments ASAP. Here's the other piece. Let me first dry off the excess water, and then we will start doing the same thing. Oh yeah, that's my hope. I'll be able to get to the comments after these things are in the oven. So, but yeah, this is what I mean. It's already, as you can see, the flash rust is already starting to set in. So I've got to work quickly and scrub this thing off, or at least, well, oh yeah, it's a nuisance too. It's a, yeah, as a lot of people will say, that it can be a real pain. But nonetheless, it is only I mean, it's not set in rust. It's only a very, very thin and light sheen of rust. And I honestly think, in fact, I'm rubbing off the rust. I'm not covering the rust by doing this. Let me get back in the camera here. I'm not covering up the rust with seasoning. I think I'm actually rubbing it off. And yeah, if folks want to correct me on this, please do. I am honest. I've never considered myself an expert in this, even though I've made all these videos and everything. No, I'm a hobbyist. I'm still learning every day. And if there are folks who want to offer their own advice or their own opinions on this, please do so. Well, yes, it's right. As yeah, I'm not sure if you heard that from Jamie or not. She says experts acquire their knowledge from hands-on experience because there's really no school, no class on cast iron. Except these days, if you go to a culinary school, there probably is. Yes, it is cast iron specific. All right, a little bit on the bottom. And then we turn our attention to the inside where all those nooks and crannies are. Okay, still, this is looking pretty good. Not bad at all, I think. I really love the way the lye stripped every single bit of the seasoning off, and we are really looking at bare metal here. So we are off to a very decent start, but decent or not, gotta work fast. Once the initial coating is on, then I'll be able to take my time. There we go. Once again, we gotta make sure he's not wet behind the ears. Yuck, yuck, yuck. And okay, there we are. And a little bit here and a little bit there. Since this is the front piece, I think this design is even more elaborate on the front. Well, for obvious reasons, because this is the part that you really want to show off. So, yes, that's pretty much, yes. A little bit here, tuck there. So, just got to be patient and do my best to get it into every little bit under here and under there and in the nose and all the rest and under the legs. There we go. This is looking much better now, I'd say. So, not bad at all. All right. There we go. This is one nice looking little lamb now. I think Mary would be proud. And probably so would Clarice. Okay. Getting there. Just a little bit Yeah, I'm trying to keep the Hannibal Lecter jokes to a minimum here. I might end up slipping one or two in because you never know. But, okay. And it looks like a couple little spots here on the bottom. There we are, though. This is the front half of our vintage cast iron lamb mold that, at least according to the previous owner, dates back to maybe the 1960s or so. And the 1960s are not as young as they used to be. It is completely unmarked. If there's any other sign that might indicate a manufacturer on this, please let me know. These nubbins here are especially for baking, so that it's even with the nose, so that when you bake it, it will rest evenly like this. And this thing is nice and solid. It's definitely not a spinner, that's for sure. Okay, so, and there we go. Now, yeah, when this thing is all seasoned this weekend, I'm going to practice and see what we can do. Apparently, the best cake to make for a lamb mold, they say, is pound cake, probably because it's so thick and heavy, and it's the least likely to come apart when, or so they say. What? You want? In other words, you want? Oh yeah, as soon as I said pound cake, Jamie started going crazy. So yeah, yeah, you liked those pound cakes. Yes, we made a couple of pound cakes over the last couple of weeks, and let's just say Jamie pounded those pound cakes and put on some pounds. Well, okay, sorry. But nonetheless, yeah, the pound cake recipe I have on my website, yeah, I'm quite proud of it. So it works very well, and it was with that pound cake recipe that I developed the method that I've used several times now with baking. And that is the one of preheating the cast iron pan and getting it nice and hot before adding the grease and the batter. So here we go. Am I still live? I hope not. I hope I am. Yeah, it looks like I'm still live. I don't. Yeah, it does not look like we've lost anything. Okay. I know, my Windows screensaver came on for some reason. Nonetheless, okay, there we go. Yes, I can see the counter going, and I think comments are still coming in. Yeah. Okay, but nonetheless, here we are. We've got the other half of our cast iron lamb mold, unmarked, maker unknown. Looks pretty good. Look at the detail in the face too. I mean, it even has, besides the eyes, it even has a nose and mouth. So this is doing pretty good. And with that, into the oven we go. Despite all that fussing, that didn't really take that long. Here we go. The second piece is in the oven. Now, since I don't want to waste some time and effort in the oven heat with seasoning just those pieces, let's throw in a couple of others, shall we, to get going. That means now is an excuse to bring this out. I think I brought this out not too long ago. The Griswold Dutch oven. The seasoning on this one actually has gotten a little thin. I have had to coat this thing liberally with Crisco and keep it nice and greasy to prevent rust from forming, which means really that the seasoning is wearing down. So it's definitely time to add a coat or two of it. Let's give a look at the bottom of this one, shall we? This is a nice large logo Dutch oven, and I'd have to think it comes from the 1920s because the patent number here actually is dated from the 1920s, from 1920 in fact. So having said that, let's pop this one in the oven so that we can give this a coating or two of seasoning. All right, there we go. No problem at all. And of course, we can't forget the lid. This is what they call a button lid. Where is it? Here it is. This is what they call a button lid because of this this God, I'm losing my ability to speak here. Basically, the raised logo here on the lid. It has the insides of a, Griswold as well. Although in this case, I've actually have seasoned over it a little bit so that the markings on the inside don't show quite as well. Let's pop this in the oven and get this thing nice and hot. And in a few minutes, we'll be able to apply our first coating of seasoning. Whew. Okay. And actually, I'm not done yet. Got to get back to the sink now because remember, got a couple of trivets to clean up. This will be much easier though. So, in fact, on these, I think I will throw a little bit of Barkeeper's Friend onto these and give them a nice scrubbing. There we go. Just to be sure that there's no rust on these things. Love using Barkeeper's Friend for cleaning up cast iron. I am of the opinion that Barkeeper's Friend should be nicknamed Cast Iron Cook's Friend because... Oh, yeah. Yeah, Barkeeper's Friend is wonderful stuff. If you're not careful, it can stain, but otherwise it is an excellent cleaner. Oh, yeah, that's right. Jamie used this Barkeeper's Friend as well. We had hair dye that stained the porcelain in the bathroom sink. She used Barkeeper's Friend on it, and it came right off. So nice. Oh, how long did you say? Yeah, the stain in question in the porcelain of the bathroom sink had been at least 6 months. And the Barkeeper's Friend took it off just like that. So, if you have not tried Barkeeper's Friend, yeah, I highly recommend it. And I'm not saying this is some kind of a product plug. I'm saying it because it's a really great thing to use, especially on cast iron. It's also dirt cheap, as you know. Even with today's prices, you can get a nice can of it at Wally World for maybe $2. So, definitely worth the investment because... Thanks to that, get the scrubby out again. There we go. Here are our trivets. In which case, then I'm just going to have to do the same thing. Dry these things off, coat them, and then we will go on with the seasoning. Now we're getting somewhere. Here's one. Here's the other. All right. Now we're getting there. And then we head over here once again and just repeat the process one more time. Sorry about moving the camera around so much, folks. Just trying to get this done as quickly as we can. I mean, we're already 40 minutes into this thing. Boy, the time sure is flying. That's for sure. All right, where was that? Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, just quickly giving it a brush off with paper towels. Like I said, it doesn't have to be bone dry. What I found is after I coat it with the Crisco and put it in the oven, that seems to cause the rest of the water residue to evaporate, whereas the Crisco and the grease remains on it. So that's why it still does not develop rust. And that means it'll be nice and hot and ready for seasoning. So here we go. This is a motto that, like it or not, I've found has really applied to my life in the last 10 years or so. Nonetheless, it's quite amusing in its own right. And so that's why I'm glad to own and use this trivet. And as I said, this is the one that is not a not a swastika, and I'm not being sarcastic. It's not a swastika. Look up the design and the history of this design, and you will see that. Also, just for the record, screw white supremacists, to hell with them. I do not support racists in any way, and that's probably all that needs to be said there. Okay. Nonetheless, we've got a couple more trivets here. Gee, as if I didn't have enough trivets, Jamie. Yeah, trivets are yet another one of those collecting habits that can get out of control if you're not careful. They're convenient, they're artistic. I'm sure there are a lot of folks, maybe even watching this, who may have at least a dozen trivets hanging on their wall, for instance, which we might do once we move into the new place. Wallow trivets to go with the usual wallow cast iron that a lot of people have. All right. There's one. And now for the other. I hope I don't sound like I'm getting out of breath. It's only, as I said, I'm trying to move as quickly as possible, again, to keep flash rust from setting in on this thing. There we go. Doing nicely now. And with that, there we go. With that, we will get these into the oven. And then we'll be able to take a few minutes, have some chat and some comments, and then we'll get down to the seasoning. Hey, okay, stick this in here. Good, it'll fit here. And another one. Oh, where can I stick this thing? That'll do. There we go. Oh, well, so far so good. Let's move this around again. Yeah. What fun, huh? Alright, there we go. Whew. Hi there, remember me? Okay, last thing is let me wipe my hands off from all that grease and stuff. Now we get to see what folks have been saying and what I've been doing wrong, as I usually do. Okay, let's move up a little bit, shall we? Dr. M, Richard Scott, hot summer days, and if I want or need something done fast, I mix the necessary amount of lye up using hot water from the top. Yes, exactly. Between 100 to 140, I've had great results. Yes, lye works best in hot water. The Lye Tank, well, again, at this point, there are a lot of different sites and videos that instruct on using a Lye Tank. It's very easy. As he already said tonight, probably the most important thing is getting yourself a container that will not be damaged by the lye. There are certain kinds of plastic or polypropylene or whatever it's called that are lye resistant, and those are the kind of things that you do want to use for a lye tank. Once you do that, the typical ratio of lye to water is you first add your water and then add the lye. Do not add water to lye. You always add lye to water. There's a little rhyme that people remember, and that's add water to lye and you will die. Well, you won't exactly die, but it does get the point across, and you'll definitely remember that. So you always put in the water first and then add in the lye. And be careful, lye is caustic, caustic. You know, it can damage your skin if you're not careful. Wear protective goggles, wear those heavy gloves, and you might even want to consider maybe using a face mask. Which I know I didn't do that, but I was only doing this for a few minutes tonight. Nonetheless, the average ratio for water to lye is about 1 pound of lye, which you can get these days at Wally World, 1 pound containers, for every 5 gallons of water. So if you get yourself one of those 5-gallon buckets from Home Depot and a 1 pound lye container, then there you go. You're all set. Um, it's not exact science. You do not have to measure this thing like with a measuring cup or anything like that. The nice thing about Lye is that it works even if these estimates are way off. So it just seems to work better with that kind of estimate. So it's okay to not be exact about it. Literally, just throw in the water and then throw in the Lye and stir it around, and then just start tossing in your cast iron. And as we said, Lye tanks are, I love my Lye tank for that reason. It's like I go out antiquing, and we're starting to get back into springtime and antiquing and yard sales and flea markets. Oh, and Brimfield is only a month away. Anyway, what I do is I find pieces of cast iron, and I just take them and I throw them in the Lye tank and forget about them. After a month or two or more, I dig some of them out of the Lye tank and start cleaning them off like I did tonight. Basically, whenever I feel like it. So that hopefully in time for the fall and Christmas, there'll be another pile of new season cast iron, which will make great presents next Christmas. So okay, anyway, that's the very basics of it. David Craig got a number 5 BSR today. Looks great. Very little rust on it. So I'm seasoning it as we speak. Oh, congratulations on that. Cynthia Wesley, I just realized it's a Wednesday too. The lamb is so pretty and precious. Well, thank you. Perfect for a white frosted Easter lamb cake. Yeah, that's going to be an adventure in itself because my cake decorating abilities are not so great. Jamie says, "You know what the beautiful thing about a lamb cake is? You can cover it in coconut and it looks like you did it on purpose." Well, there you go. That's a nice and easy idea. I mean, I know a lot of people use the piping bag and they actually put those dozens and dozens and dozens of dots of frosting on it so that it looks beautiful and everything. Not all of us, hand raised, are that artistic. So I like Jamie's suggestion that you could literally just get some shredded or shredded coconut, and you cover the lamb cake with that, and bam, there you go. I like that idea. I'm definitely going to be putting that into use, I think. So, Kenneth, uh, okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Jamie, on the other hand, she is actually, well, she's not exactly a professional baker. She did work for a long time at a bakery, so she does have a lot of experience like that. Kenneth, I can't pronounce it. Kamianaki. Good night. I picked up a rust bucket one this year. Won't be ready until next year. What kind of cake are you putting in it? Well, hopefully a lamb cake. And let's see what else we have. Betty, yeah, Cowdle. Lamb mold is definitely a beautiful piece. So glad I found. Well, thank you very much. And is the back or the front deeper? I think I'll have to measure them, to be honest. I would have to say, based on those, the way those nubbins are, I think we're actually supposed to bake this one face down. So that would have to mean the front may be deeper. Uh, Jamie says you can't bake it face down. So, well, it's in two parts. You've got the front and the back. Yeah, they both have to be down because how the cake might stay in it. Okay. Like they have to be deep. Like. All right. Okay. Well, we'll find out once it comes out of the oven. Yeah. And Mike Mitchell Parker sitting at the pool waiting for my match, and I thought I would stop by. Well, I hope we're enjoying. I hope we're entertaining you. That's the best I could say. Pawpaw dang. I agree with Clico's request from last week. Make a video showing you moving your cast iron from your rack. Yeah, yeah. We are gonna have to document the move when it actually happens. So, yeah, that is. But on the other hand, yeah. Yeah. Well, I've already said that moving the cast iron will be my project. Yes. So I'm not asking you to throw your back out with this. Yeah. All right. Good night. Good luck tonight playing pool. My grandma had one of those, and she cooked a chocolate cake in it and covered with coconut frosting every Easter. And there you go. Sam Cook, you slipped in on me. Hello, Sam Cook. Nice to see you here again. Look up cast iron lamb mold and O cream lamb mold comes up. Yeah, they are. Well, cast iron lamb mold. Actually, I have seen some YouTube videos of people using cast iron lamb molds. In most cases, they don't actually announce that it's a cast iron lamb mold. You have to recognize it. And yeah, they all say the same thing: grease and flour the heck out of it. Really go crazy with the greasing and flouring before you add your batter. So I'll give it a try, and we will see how that all turns out. Arctic Gator. Yes, I remember from high school science class. Always add the acid to the base. Hmm. Well, water is neutral though, so it's more like we add the base, the lye, to the neutral, the water. So, okay, lye. Add lye.
It's probably because in lying a container, as it's sitting there, it's like kind of developing like fumes in
Oh
the
yeah.
container. So as you pour water into it, those fumes are gonna because you have
Oh,
to,
definitely. Yeah.
displaced. So
Yes.
they're gonna displace like upwards usually.
Oh,
So
yeah. Oh, I've seen it, and they have videos of it too. If you do it the other way around, if you put water into dry lye crystals, it will. Yes, it will. Poof. Practically explode. So not explode, but
try it with confectioner's sugar.
right.
It's gonna do the same thing.
I don't doubt it. Yes.
You know? It's fine.
Dr. M, pure crystal lye. Add the lye to the water, not the other way around, and careful not to inhale that powder. Honey J. Badger came across a lamb a couple of weeks ago. Didn't grab it because I thought someone else would love it more. Yeah. I'd seen lamb molds and I was hesitant to get one. This is my first lamb mold. And it's like I was afraid to give it a try too. So, but I finally decided last year to take the plunge and get myself a lamb mold. Partly because I've said this before, I've got this mantra that I'm trying to use on myself, which is whenever I say to myself, I've never done this before, then I've got to do it. And so that means I'm going to have to give a lamb mold a try. Besides, it might make a good YouTube video. You can find aluminum lamb molds out there too. Yeah, and they're pretty easy to get too. You can order anything online, Amazon, Wally World, and they're not that expensive either. So, and that's good. It looks like it takes me back to the end of the comments. So we're pretty much caught up on it. Arctic Gator, yeah, add the acid to the base. Polyethylene, maybe. This is what gas cans are made of in many buckets. Yes. Well, like I said, honestly, do some research. And I'm not talking conspiracy theory stuff. I mean, find some sites. There are sites out there that will tell you the right chemical or initial combinations to look for to get a tub that is lye resistant. So that's what I did. I've got this huge 60-gallon barrel that I have not used this year because, as I said, I'm in transition. But that's the one that I used to actually clean up my big 15-gallon cauldron. My big, yeah. What?
I said just dissolve the bodies in.
Oh yeah. As somebody says, dissolve the bodies in. Yeah. There was an episode of Breaking Bad where they did that. Yeah, where they actually filled a bathtub full of lye to dissolve a body, except that it ate through the bathtub and crashed through the ceiling of a second floor of a second floor apartment.
You're smarter than a TV science teacher?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe in some things. I've gotten those Walter White comparisons, and my response to that is usually I like to think my cooking is a little more healthy than his. But nonetheless, yeah, that's the thing. You've got to find something that is lye resistant. It's not too hard. Just do a little bit of research. Oh, one last thing. Do not ever combine lye with aluminum. If you have aluminum cookware, especially vintage, do not put it in a lye tank. Aluminum will react with the lye. It will dissolve the lye. It will dissolve the aluminum. It will damage the aluminum, and it will produce fumes too. So no, never, never, never use lye to clean aluminum. Which also comes down to oven cleaner. The two kinds that they have: the easy off oven cleaner, which is another popular way of doing this. I find the Lye Tank is easier and a lot more effective than the trash bag with the oven cleaner sprayed into it. So yes, you can do that, but the Lye is just that. It's a lot easier. If you already have a Home Depot bucket, for instance, you can get a pound of Lye at Wally World now for what, $4, $5, which is really not much more than the cost of a can of Easy Off oven cleaner. So go that route and make yourself a Lye tank with it, because it'll last a lot longer. You can clean a lot of cast iron with it, and it's probably easier to maintain than a trash bag with oven cleaner in it. If you do use oven cleaner, like we said, the yellow can is the one with the Lye. That's the one that, yes, you can clean cast iron with it. On the other hand, the blue can does not have Lye in it. And the blue can only you should use for cleaning aluminum. All right. Have we missed anything? Dr. M. Richard Scott, it tends to accumulate. I asked my partner the other day why I have 7 Dutch ovens. Oh, yes. There we go. We're getting back into cast iron itis here. Yeah. That's the other thing some folks may notice is that cast iron, it just seems to multiply almost like rabbits. So, yeah, I mean, you start out with 1 cast iron pan, then you end up with 2. Next thing you know, you have 5. Next thing you know, you have 10. You get the idea. So you have to be careful, of course. He said as he just cleaned up 2 more Trivets tonight to go with my Trivet collection. Okay. Meanwhile, what else do we have here? Dave Evely. For trivet and non cookware, I use stove and grill polish. It makes them look like new. Or baking soda. Do you use vinegar on the pans after the Lye? In the early days, I have a Lye cleaning video from almost 10 years ago. Good God, is it that long ago? But yeah, I have one there where after it came out of the Lye, I dipped them in aluminum, especially aluminum. Ugh. After it came out of the Lye, I dipped them in vinegar. Boy, I can't even talk tonight, can I? To neutralize the Lye. That's actually not necessary because Lye is water soluble. As you saw what I did tonight, I did not use aluminum. Did it again. Somebody get the aluminum out of my head, please. Yeah, aluminium. Okay. I did not use vinegar to clean that to clean up that lamb mold after I cleaned it in the sink. All I did was use water because Lye is water soluble. It will completely dissolve in the water. So there's nothing wrong with I mean, I still use those gloves. Yes, I did not use my bare hands to clean out those to clean that off. I don't think I did. But even if I did, that's just the point, is that it's water soluble, and my hands feel fine. I don't feel any tingling or anything at all from the Lye. A good scrubbing, and here you can use things like dish soap or barkeeper's friend, which I did, to clean those pans off. Keeping vinegar, see, I said vinegar. Keeping vinegar nearby is a good idea because of the concern, what if something bad happens and you may have to neutralize the Lye. So keeping a vinegar nearby is not a bad idea, but it's not an essential step in cleaning cast iron with Lye. All you really need to do is to give it a good brisk scrubbing underwater, with or without soap, and it's fine, and it's ready to clean and to go into the oven for seasoning, which is where we are now.
You never know. Somebody comes along to induct you into Fight Club.
Fight Club.
If you have somebody, when they put Lye in your hand,
yeah,
it's always good to have Lye around, vinegar around.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
someone neutralize it.
Yeah, right.
So Fight Club is.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Fight Club.
Yeah. That's the first rule. Never talk about Fight Club. One last thing, and then we'll get on to doing a little bit of seasoning. And that last bit is, oh God, my mind is going tonight. Lye Tank, vinegar. Oh, good grief. Oh yes, that's right. The last thing. It's been asked before, well, what if there is lye residue still left on the pan? What if it gets into the pores? I mean, after all, lye is a chemical, and we do not want, like we say, when there is lead contamination on a cast iron pan and it gets into the pores, we consider that to be complete. We consider that to be permanent. So, is lye safe? And the answer to that, I can safely say with confidence, yes, for a couple of reasons. Number one, lye is water soluble, so that if you briskly wash off your cast iron after it comes out of the lye tank, give it a good scrubbing. It'll get most or the vast amount of the out of the lye out of the pores and cracks and all fissures in the surface of it. What if there is any left at all, it will barely be in microscopic trace amounts. And that's the other thing, is that lead seems to permanently bond to the metal. I don't know what the chemical reasons are, but lead, when it's on there, and it can't come off. But lye, on the other hand, as I said, water will take care of all. If there's any left, there will be only microscopic trace amounts. And here's the other thing about pure lye. In those microscopic trace amounts, it's safe. It's not going to poison you or anything at all like that. Lye, even though lye in concentrated amounts, like, in a lye tank, can harm human skin, lye is safe enough that it is actually used in food production. They talk about some things like bagels, for instance. They actually dip bagels in lye before they bake them. So and so that means that I mean, I'm not, believe me, I am not going to tell you to start drinking from your lye tank. No. But in the microscopic trace amounts that might still be on a cast iron pan, that's safe. That is nothing to worry about. It is not going to have any detrimental effect. Furthermore, we're seasoning over that. So there's still not going to be any chance at all of that affecting you. So, yeah, lye is actually a very, what's a good word? Friendly, I guess, food friendly or human friendly chemical. They've been making it for hundreds of years. It's essentially natural. And it's, as I said, as long as you handle it carefully, lye is safe. You can even dispose of it safely and naturally. So, yeah, lye is well, I guess you could call it like a good chemical. It has its hazards, but it's nowhere near as dangerous as some chemicals. All right. Having said all that, here, repeat after us. Aluminium. How about that, Papa Dan? Repeat after us. Vinegar. Yes, vinegar, vinegar, vinegar. All right. Um, yes. I love your cooking on the old wood-fired. Oh, Mudbrooker. Oh, why is the Mudbrooker here tonight? Oh, hi. There you are. Yeah. Hello to the Mudbrooker. Haven't seen you in a while. The one pan you want that comes up a lot with four others adds up quick. Oh, yeah, exactly. He's talking about cast ironitis. Yeah, if you've seen any of the Mudbrookers videos, you can see that guy there, it's like his entire walls are covered with cast iron pans. So nice to own your own home where you can do that. Me, I've got to go with a rack. So, okay, it's great for cleaning the pipes. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Lye, yeah, I mean, lye is drain cleaner. So, I mean, when you want to get rid of it, you can legally dump it down the drain. Okay, and I just came here after watching Mudbrookers live. Well, okay, hope folks had fun here. We're still going here, and now I think I've talked enough. Let's actually get some action in here again, I guess. Okay, which means we get to do this roller coaster thing again. And bring this down here, where we can get these pans out of the oven. There it goes again. Excuse me, my windows. Come on. There we go. Anyway, where we can get these pans out of these pieces out of the oven one at a time, and start with the seasoning. So great. I've just done that. Now I've got to step back because I have to open up the oven. Limited space. What can I say? Okay. Let us start with. Looks like we're going to start with the front, in fact. here's the front of the mold. Okay. Huh. That's interesting. It actually wobbles a little bit. Well, that hardly matters. I mean, as long as it fits well enough in the mold. Okay. Now, first of all, give it a just a bit of a rub down to get the excess off. There we go. That includes the inside. But this doesn't take long at all. That was easy. And now that we've done that, we get to get out my favorite cast iron seasoning stick, which would be Crisby. Good old Crisby. I've been using Crisby for years now, and I don't have any complaints about it. I know there are other people now who are producing their own lines of cast iron seasoning, and please feel free to use them if you want. All I know is that I have this Crisby, and I'm going to keep on using it. So I don't have any complaints about that. In fact, a few years ago, and I still had some, I made my own version of Crisby, and that's what I'm using right now. In fact, I believe I used a ratio of about 2/3 Crisby to 1/3 beeswax to come up with this. It was easy enough. I melted in one of my cast iron cornbread skillets, and as a result, I've got a whole. It produced several cakes of that almost crispy. However, the real Crisby has some kind of an additive that gives it a much more pleasant scent when it bakes in the oven. So, get this on. Yeah, stick it in the nose. Ooh, that's hot. Got to be careful there. Stick it in the nose, and a little bit here, and a little bit there. All right. Ears. Turn it over. Rub a little bit more here and there, and a little bit on the nose. There we go. It's not, as you can see, it's not exactly rocket science. Actually, I probably should be using this. There we go. And yeah, I've got a chamois that I use really for greasing down my pans. That will help to cover every bit of this, where again, got to get it into all those little corners. This is one of those pans that it can be a real pain to season, and that's why I'm hoping once this thing is seasoned, it will stay permanently seasoned. I hope. Let's do one more rub down here, shall we? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, like I said, this is a chamois, and I think this is doing a much better job of coating this with seasoning than that paper towel did. So, there we go. And that's one. Oops, sorry about that. Here's one more look. And then it will go back in the oven. Oof. And we will get out the other half. Boy, that sounded lovely, didn't it? Here's the other half. I'm so glad I'm going to be moving, as you can see, with the way I'm treating this oven here. Okay. Here's the other half. Once again, I just put that. Put this thing aside. And, oh, here it is. Okay. Just start liberally rubbing on my fake or imitation Crisby. Get out the chamois and start vigorously giving it a good rub down. There we go. Yeah, definitely I think this backside, the crevices are not as deep as the front side. So that actually makes this a little bit, whoops, sorry about that, little bit easier to season or spread the seasoning on at least. All right, now that I've done that, now we can apply the paper towel I do believe it was Jeff Rogers who came up with this method, which has become a standard for just about everybody who does seasoning of cast iron, where you start by liberally rubbing it on, or vigorously, and then you wipe off the excess residue, because there is still a thin coating left, and that's really all you need. There we go. Now for the front. A little bit here, a little bit there. Spread it around. And don't forget those corners. I know I'm repeating myself, but, well, it's important. Okay, that's in here and there. This is not as bad as cleaning, say, a cornstick pan, for instance, or the bottom of a deep muffin pan. Those things can be really hard to reach. Compared to that, this is not so difficult. Wipe this off quickly. And there we go. And here is the back side. And there's the back side. And into the oven we go once again. Then I've got one piece to bring out that I said I was going to season tonight. Careful, I don't want to drop this thing. That would not be good. There we go. I think I'll move this over for now. Trivet here. Stick this here now. There we go. That actually works. And here's the other part. Bring this out. Come on, there we go. Finally, the other piece that I'll be seasoning tonight, the Griswold Dutch oven. Bring this back here. This one's much easier because it's nice and smooth. Just give it a nice and easy coating of the Crispy. All right. And yeah, I know, again, I keep mentioning Crispy, and as I said, I know very well, no, I don't know him well, but I have chatted with the guy from Cast Iron Cookware, Stephen Strawn, who has a very impressive collection of his, and he is doing his own version of seasoning. What does he call it? Easy Beasy Cast Iron Seasoning, I believe he calls it. And more power to him. I mean, as I said, he's got a nice channel too, where he provides a lot of advice on collecting and seasoning cast iron. All right. Now that that's on, now flip over the paper towel and just wipe off the excess residue. Come on, you. By the way, the patent number on the bottom of this Dutch oven, let me show you that again if you want to do a screenshot. The patent number here, I looked it up, and in fact, they got themselves a patent on this handle, on this bail, so that it would it would balance the pot and keep it from tipping over when lifted. Nice little idea there. Now, just do the same here on the bottom. Very quickly and briskly apply this to the outside. Looks better already. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make this live video last as long as it usually does. It looks like we're not having any difficulty with that at all. I hope I haven't bored people too much. Especially since I've been busy, and unfortunately I have not been able to do a lot of chatting, and I apologize too much. There we go. Sorry about that. The microphone was too far away. As I was saying, I hope I haven't bored people too much because I've been busy working on this and haven't had too much of a chance to do some chatting. Nonetheless, this looks pretty good. All right, so into the oven once again, and we'll get out the lid. And then after that, we'll do those trivets, and I do believe we will be done for now. Here is the lid. So here we go. As you can see, it's like the same thing over and over and over again. Once again, this is not exactly rocket science. Let me move this mic closer again. Use our chamois. This is just a chamois that they sell for cleaning, well, like knives and kitchen utensils. And we'll get this coated nicely with the seasoning. And then once we do that, we once again grab our paper towel and wipe off the excess residue. So far, so good. There we go. This looks nice. Oh, yeah. Few things seem to be more attractive than a nicely seasoned cast iron pan. Let's just apply this a little bit more to the logo there. Now we will quickly get the inside. And then after that, we'll get to do those trivets. Alright. The reason why I season the inside of this so thick is because, again, folks who know, they know that the underside of a lid is unfortunately one of those parts that are a real pain to keep properly seasoned. And especially if you use a Dutch oven for steaming and braising and boiling water and stuff, the underside of a lid is most likely to collect rust, unfortunately. So I've been sure to liberally season the underside as a result. There we go. And into the oven we go. And then we're almost done. All we have left now is the not a swastika trivet. I know this thing has a name. My memory is really faulty tonight or something, because the name of this design is just escaping me. I think it might actually be an Amish design or something similar to that, from Pennsylvania. All right. A little bit here, a little bit there. In fact, there's enough. I can just simply put the rest of this on the underside. There we go. As you can see, this was much easier than that other piece. That's one. There we go. Nice. And this will have a long life ahead of it yet. Finally, the last piece. Yeah. Move this up a little bit. There we go. And this is the one I was glad to find. In fact, it had paint on it when I first acquired it, but I prefer it bare, so I threw it in the Lye Tank for a month or two, and it completely stripped off the paint. And now, as a result, we just got a nice bare trivet, which is what I wanted. Yeah, as I mentioned, I have personal reasons why I say that this particular logo is something that I guess I've applied, but that's all I'm going to say. All right, more importantly, it's a cute and attractive little trivet, and it works great. Oh, what's more, this one is a Wilton too. Let me show you that. This one is an actual Wilton trivet. Can we see this right? So yeah, Wilton, of course, is the one of the big names when it comes to cast iron trivets. So I'm quite happy to own this one. And having said that, just a quick wipe down into the oven. Phew, that was fun. And there we go. Now that we've done that, it's time to turn the oven temperature up to 300. There we go. And now finally, hello again. At last. Now, wow, an hour and 20 minutes already. Good grief, does that time ever fly? Now we can actually catch up with a few more comments tonight. Okay. Anyway, thank you as always to everybody for showing up here. So as I said, I hope this hasn't been too boring an experience. It's as I mentioned already, seasoning cast iron. Of course, it's something we all have experience with because if you use any cast iron at all, even if you have just one pan, this is something you will need to do at some time or another. So, hello, Jose Latias. Glad to see you here. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. And again, hello to the Mudbrooker, Jose Latius. I've been eyeballing one of those lambs on OfferUp for about $50. Well, I paid $50 for my lamb mold, including the shipping. It was $35 plus shipping. So I like to think I got a good deal. If you end up paying 50 as a full price, then yeah, I would say that would be a good deal too. My lamb mold is completely unmarked. I have no idea who the manufacturer is. I see no identifying marks on it at all. I don't know if that makes it a lodge or just an unknown. Maybe yours might be have something to identify it. How old is this piece? I remember Easter lamb decorations from the 60s that are more common now. Lamb molds, actually, I believe they do date to the 1800s or so. I'm told that there was a fad back then of making these lamb cakes, and one that never really died because, well, those lamb cakes are attractive. Also, of course, the cast iron molds last forever. So, I would think then that lamb cakes are one of those earlier traditions that have stuck around into the 20th century, probably because they're associated with Easter. And so there are a lot of old traditions that go with it, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But that's why pretty much it's like, that particular pan, the lamb mold seems to be a one note piece. You make a lamb cake in it, and that's about it. Or as some say, you can also make cornbread in it. You know what I'm also considering doing? Using it and making a meatloaf, which I suppose, some people may consider that kind of gross or disgusting. But why? If anything, it's more appropriate. So, but I probably shouldn't even get into the details of that. Okay. But anyway, yeah, I'm quite glad to have this now that I have it. So I definitely intend on seeing how well a lamb cake can turn out in this. Can we call it homebrew seasoning? I can't believe it's not Crisby. I like the name of it, Dr. M. Thank you very much for that. All right. How many coats of seasoning do you generally put on bare iron? I typically do about 3. I know some of those sites say to do 5 or 6 or 7. And if you really want to make a pan look as good as new, that's probably not a bad idea. But as far as one that's actually useful for a smooth vintage pan, which is a little bit harder to season, I would say at least 3. For a newer pan, like a modern day lodge and its rougher surface, 2 seasonings should be enough really to get it ready for cooking. That's a minimum, that is. I mean, as I said, this is not rocket science. You can pretty much do what how until you can season this thing until the cows come home, until you think it's ready. That's really the easy way to do that. Jose Latius, my wife is my major obstacle when it comes to purchasing cast iron. I thought $50 was a good price. Also, if I do make an offer, it will be for less. Yes, indeed. One of those jokes goes, if you know, if you if you are worried that after you die, your wife will sell your cast iron for what you told her you paid for it, you might have cast ironitis. Okay, Grivalis 2. When I did my molds, I used spray oil and then wiped off the excess. Might not be the method, but got everything oiled. Well, there you go. If it works, use it. That's the best way to do it. Mark Curtis, circa 1930 to 1960. Oh, the lamb mold is in the Griswold Wagner Blue Book. Yes, there are marked lamb molds from Wagner and Griswold. And of course, those are the ones that sell, as usual, for ridiculous prices on eBay. If you look on eBay for a cast iron lamb mold, you'll see the Griswold, $250, or Wagner, $200. So obviously you're paying for the name. Yes, you're paying for quality too. I mean, Griswold and Wagner are excellent quality cast iron, but I don't think I'm going to have any problem using this completely unmarked cast iron lamb mold. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Jose Latius again. I also make mine seasoning sticks, my own. I make them just easy beezy. I use 1/3 grapeseed oil, 1/3 avocado oil, and 1/3 beeswax. And there you go. Again, if it works, use it. So why not? Not bored, says Dave Evilly or Evely. Well, thank you very much. So yeah, and yeah, you do need to get to bed because it is a work night. Yes.
Did anyone put their phonetic spelling in the chat last time?
I'm not sure, but we could ask.
Yeah, well, you were supposed to put in the comments.
Yeah, yeah. Jamie is saying that if you want people to pronounce your name correctly, especially me, put your phonetic spelling in the comments, and I will do my best to remember it. So, sorry, I don't know the meaning of the propeller simple, but I live in Amish area and see it often. Yes, that's why, as I said, I I'm not even going to use that word again, but let's suffice to say, that is not a yeah, that is probably more of an Amish design, and we will leave it at that. The Mudbrooker. I can never see a lamb mold and not think of the episode of MASH with the spam lamb. Well, there's an idea. I mean, hey, have we done an episode? Have we done a YouTube video of that? You'd get some hits. Okay, and how are those hammered pans going? Says William Hurt. Yeah, I hope you like them, really. Okay, and would you ever use a rotary brush like a Dremel to clean your cast iron piece crevices? Short answer, no, because I do not want to scratch the iron. The Dremel is tougher or harder than the iron, and it can scratch it. That's the same reason why I would not use a wire brush or wire wheel on cast iron, because again, I don't want there to be a chance I could damage it, especially when you don't need to. So, I mean, cast iron, yes, it is extremely tough, extremely difficult to break, but it's not indestructible. And that's what we really have to put up with when we see all these people who, hey, yeah, I just pulled this out of the fire. Look at this. It works. It looks just great, don't it? Here, let's polish it, shall we, with a wire wheel. Hey, look at that. It's a Wagner. Yeah, okay. Now we'll just stick it in the oven and look at this. It comes out looking great, doesn't it, folks? Yeah, we're still getting that, unfortunately, and because cast iron has become so popular, we're going to continue getting that. I'm not going to comment on a lot of those videos because I really see no need to get into arguments over the same subject again and again and again. However, meatloaf lamb, yeah, that's a thought, one that I might do like maybe later this summer or something. So,
I thought so that was someone's name.
oh, thought it was someone's name.
Yeah. Meatloaf Lamb says,
Hmm.
hi.
Gyro loaf? Well, hell, why not? I mean, the point is that
I thought it was someone's name on YouTube, like Jose Latias.
yeah,
Like I thought
yeah,
I was waiting for the comments
yeah.
to come after.
But yeah, it's cool to have a cast iron mold. Yeah, that's why I'm looking forward to using this. And yeah, that's the thing. I don't want this to be just a 1 year thing. I don't want to just use this at Easter because it looks so nice, and there's no reason why we can't use it at different times of the day, a year. In fact, I do have an idea of something that will involve this lamb cake mold, and it's going to take place on Halloween. And I'll give you more details when Halloween comes around. However, we are actually getting into that time, aren't we? We're already in an hour and a half here, so I think we're gonna have to call it an evening because, yeah, like it or not, it's a work night for a lot of us, including myself. Jello mold, you could do that. So, but nonetheless, there we are. That is a cast iron lamb mold, and yeah, exactly as the title of this video says, we have used science. She blinded me with science. For science. Yeah, because yeah, there is definitely a science to cleaning cast iron. It can be done the right way or the wrong way, and the best I can do is encourage folks to do it the right way, which basically means one, do it in a manner that is safe and does not damage the cast iron or you, and two, if it works for you, use it, especially the seasoning. All right. So, Jose Latias, I went to Walmart and I got some rectangular molds made of rubber for baking. That's what I use. They came out of the bath the size of a stick of butter. Okay. When are you moving? Well, as I said, it seems to have been one delay after another, but we are aiming to be moving by the end of this month with any luck. So, yeah. Yeah, this apartment was completely gutted. You know, the walls were stripped, the floors were stripped. Pretty much, it had to be remodeled and everything. That's why it took so long. But it is just about done now, and so we've been patient. And it's only one man who's working on it too. So, yeah, the landlord and his helper. Yeah, Jamie got a fantastic deal on this apartment, and we're really looking forward to moving.
Yeah, I get a job from it too.
Yeah, you got a job from it too. Okay, as William Hurt says, I think we are about ready to call it an evening there because, yeah, I'm going to be seasoning this for the rest of the night, but I don't think we need to stay on YouTube Live waiting for pans to season for the next 4 hours. So, all right, having said that, though, as always, though, thank you very much to everybody for showing up, and I really appreciate it, especially the ones who show up each week. You know, as I've said before, and I say this every time because I mean it every time. It's you folks here who make these live videos so much fun. So thank you so much once again for everybody for showing up. And then, well, next week we'll do it all over again.
Yep.
So so we will catch you all next week, and we'll see you all next Wednesday.
Check you later.
Have a good evening.
So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, adieu.